Most marriages don't die from betrayal. They die from disconnection. We have gone through infidelity. We've gone through porn addiction. We've gone through lots of broken trust. It's not a lack of love that ruins marriages. It's a lack of repair. So you don't need to feel in love to rebuild. All that you need is willingness. Ladies, your husband needs sexual connection with you. He needs physical intimacy, and he needs it way more often than one time a month. Husbands, your wife needs your presence. She needs to know that she is a priority for you. So if you're having marriage problems and experiencing disconnection, frustration, this video is for you. I am going to go over 3 specific ways to help with marriage problems that you can do. So if you're looking for a video that fixes your spouse, this one isn't it. This is you both collectively, and whether you're a man or a woman watching this, there are going to be parts in it for both of you. So if you've ever said the words, "I can't do this anymore," or thought the words, "I can't do this anymore," this video is exactly for you. And even if you are in a better place than that, and you're not saying that currently, this video is still for you because we don't want you to get there. Again, there's cycles in our marriage and highs and lows. And so how do you keep what you have going, if it's in a good trajectory, going into the right place? So if you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe. 81.2% of you that are watching this video more than likely are not subscribed. And if you are looking to transform your marriage with intimacy, connection, and passion, this is the place. Hit the subscribe button. Okay, so let's get into it. Help with marriage problems. First, I just want you to know that you are not crazy. I have been divorced, and now I have been married for 15 years. And in each of those, I have had the thought repeatedly, it should not be this hard. If it's meant to be, it shouldn't be this hard. And it is. What I've had to realize is that marriage is a refining tool and a refining process if I let it be. Yet, I was someone who did not want to look at my flaws, my inefficiencies, and the things that I didn't do well, because so much of my identity in the beginning was based on how I performed, how I did, and what people thought about me. So if that's you, hit something in the comments. Give me a thumbs up in the comments saying, "Ooh, I can relate to that." You're not alone, because when someone's not happy with me, I don't feel good about myself and I start mulling. See, I had this unworthiness cord in me. And so it being hard can be a refining process. I came into marriage believing that marriage was supposed to make me happy. And then when it didn't make me happy, then, well, I guess it's not meant to be. I shouldn't be there. And that's far from the truth. So when I look back on my prior marriage, which was just a year, or we were together for 5 years and married for a year, those hard moments, looking back at them now, I know I could have gotten through them. However, I bound myself in bitterness and anger and frustration and refused to do the hard inner work that I believe God was inviting me to do. See, my perspective now is marriage is meant to make me holy. If you know anything about mine and Skylar's story, we have gone through infidelity. We've gone through porn addiction. We've gone through lots of broken trust. And in all of that, as much as I wish that we never would have gone through it, and have had many moments of feeling like I'm done, I cannot do this anymore. Through all of that, Romans 8:28 says God works all things for the good of those who love him. God has transformed me, us, and he is using it in our Rise Up Kings and Rise Up Queens events, giving people that are in that exact same scenario hope for a possible connection in their marriage. So would you allow some refining? Would you open your eyes to maybe not making it about your spouse just for this video? You don't have to tell them, just we'll know, okay? And see if there's some things that you might be able to do different. So you don't need to feel in love to rebuild. All that you need is willingness. I'm going to say that one more time. You don't need to feel in love to transform and begin the process of reconnection in your marriage. You just need willingness. So are you willing? If you're willing, hit in the comment yes, and I'll know that you are willing. See, oftentimes we're waiting for this feeling. We're waiting for the desire, and then I act. And like in everything in life, if you don't feel like going to the gym, if you don't feel like showing up to work, you do things when you don't feel like it. Yet for some reason in marriage, you excuse yourself from doing things because you don't feel like it. And I'm not saying that your feelings are not valid. However, I believe to step in marriage, there are going to be many times where you do not feel like doing something, but for the sake of the marriage, it is necessary. It's necessary for you to move past feeling. In the beginning of my career, I started in financial services, and the only reason why I was successful was because I was willing to do the things that other people weren't willing to do. I was willing when I did not feel like talking to people, when I did not feel like making cold calls, when I did not feel like doing those things, I did them anyways. And I believe that that translates into our marriages. And so some of you are going to just need to gather some willingness, and then the feeling will come. So when you think about this, if your spouse is not the enemy, see, some of you perceive your spouse as the enemy, and everything they do is an attack on you. So every time they say, hey, you're not showing up here, or I need more from you, or I'm not happy with this, you experience that as an attack on you. And I want to challenge you that what if that wasn't an attack and it actually was them inviting you into a greater relationship, and it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity for you to get better and you to grow and you to maybe step into some things that aren't comfortable. But what if your spouse wasn't your enemy and they were just wounded also? See, I think we miss sometimes that our spouses have pasts. They had childhoods that oftentimes were not optimal. Some of your spouses or you who's watching this have been through traumatic experiences. And since we're not reliving those experiences as adults, we think that that stuff's in the past. But it oftentimes is not in the past. We say something around here at Rise Up Kings and Rise Up Queens. If it's hysterical, it's historical. So if there's a big reaction that happens in your spouse, you might have been part of the dynamic that created that trigger. However, there is more than likely more times than just this instance that they have been triggered by this thing. And so would you be willing to see the little boy or the little girl that is in front of you, your spouse, but see that little girl, little boy inside of them when you guys are triggered with each other? See, the little girl in me believes that in order for her to be loved, in order for her to be accepted and to belong, that people need to be happy with her. So when Skylar's not happy with me or there's something that he brings, immediately that triggers, oh my gosh, I'm not enough. I'm not going to be good enough. And when a little child believes I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, they learn how to cope, because if they don't learn how to cope and survive in that environment, to their nervous system, that is death. And so for a second, the next time you go into a fight, could you stop yourself somehow in the instance, if you're believing that your spouse is the enemy, and think that they are wounded also? Are you willing to step out of yourself? See, sometimes we get so self-absorbed and we're so self-righteous and so focused on our needs, wants, and desires that we miss that there's this other person that has triggers, that has needs, that has wants, that has desires. And so a way to step into this with your spouse, not when you're in the moment of being triggered, but afterwards, would be, hey, what came up for you in that instance? Because so often you're not mad, or they're not mad about you're not mad about what they said. You're mad about what it triggered in you. And so it could be easy to say, well, you said this, and blame them for all of it. And you guys will continue to repeat that pattern. Or when you get triggered, you can take a step back, sit down and say, what happened? What's going on in me? One of the questions that I love to ask myself is, what do I want to be right about right now? And oftentimes the answer that I get, what I want to be right about is that I can't trust him, that he's not for me, that I'm not a priority. And then I have to check in, is that true? Are there ways or evidence that I have that I can trust him, that he is a priority? And oftentimes the answer is yes. And what if I'm right about that, what do I get out of that? So if I believe that I can't trust him, then I get to withdraw, I get to stay closed, and I get to not show up. And it justifies me not leaning into the relationship when my focus is on him. And so the challenge of this is, can you assume positive intent from your partner? From your spouse? Can you assume positive intent? because they had a reason why they did it. And to them, it made sense. And do you always have to make it about you? So if you know you make it about you and you're willing to step into not making it about you, hit me something in the comments and say, I'm going to stop making it everything about me. Okay, so secondly, small, consistent repairs beat big apologies. See, what happens is some of you don't apologize, right? And I want to make it clear right now, if you acknowledge what happened, that is not an apology. You would have to acknowledge what happens and say, will you forgive me? Right? Saying the words, I'm sorry, keeps you in control. Will you forgive me? Releases that control. Because most marriages don't die from betrayal. They die from disconnection. Let me say that again. Most marriages don't die from betrayal. They die from disconnection and someone not speaking up and saying, hey, this bothered me, or this is the story that I made up. See, one of the things we had to cultivate in our marriage in order for me to have these repairs was a space where I could say, because I used to believe that everything was an attack against me and Skylar was not for me. So I had to rewire my brain that he was for me. And so if Skylar came in and let's say Skylar left the dishes, and this is the thing that happens in our house, he leaves the dishes, even though I've asked him, if I like clean out the whole sink and everything is clean and he leaves one dish, I'm like, can you not do that? I just spent all this time. But the story I used to make up when he left that one dish was that he doesn't care about my time, that I'm not a priority to him. He thinks I'm just his maid. And if I believe those thoughts, I'm going to withdraw from him, disconnect from him, and not want to be there or go do anything more for him. So I said, hey, what's going on for you when you leave that dish, knowing you've said you will put it away and knowing that I've asked you for it? And oftentimes it's, oh, I'm sorry, man, I didn't mean to do that. I was totally thinking about something else. So it actually had nothing to do with me. It was not an attack on me. He was just somewhere else in his mind. So it's not what you say that heals. It's the way you show up every day that heals. So can you make little repairs each day so that you don't have to go through these big apologies? And this is going to be a challenge for some of you because you have, some of you, hundreds, thousands of little repairs that did not happen. So both of you have a big list of things that you are mad about and frustrated about and that are causing division in your marriage. And so you might need to start with a big apology. I have another video on communication that we'll link here that you definitely want to go watch that. So you might need to start with making the list of all the things that you're mad about. And then maybe you go get support and surround yourself with godly counsel and wisdom to either work through that on your own, maybe with a therapist, with a women's group, coming to a Rise Up Queens event ran by yours truly, or a Rise Up Kings event. And you begin to work through those things in a healthy way together so that you have no baggage in your relationship. But then that would mean that you would have to say what's actually going on. See, in silence, when you withhold these little things, you get perceived control. See, some of you don't bring these things and make little apologies because you're scared of what it's going to bring and that this fight or this tension is going to never end. But I would say that that tension that you don't want to experience, you're already experiencing internally when you don't bring this stuff, the important things, to the relationship. I believe it's not a lack of love that ruins marriages. It's a lack of repair. We all go into marriage desiring and loving each other. So it's not a lack of love that kills relationships. It is a lack of repair. Most couples aren't falling out of love. They're falling into survival mode. They've stopped bringing up things that bother them because they believe it's falling on deaf ears. And that's one of the worst places to be in your marriage. Going into survival mode. So I want you to check in right now. Are you in survival mode? Are you in self-protection? Because that's guaranteed to be, you see them as the enemy. And so number 3, are you willing to name what's going on for you? Even if you've named it before. I'm going to name it for you right now. If you've made it this far in the video, ladies, Your husband needs sexual connection with you. He needs physical intimacy, and he needs it way more often than one time a month or one time every 6 months. And I have countless messages from men that say they're showing up in the house, they're doing things, they're helping with the kids, they're doing dishes, they're providing money, they're doing this stuff, but my wife will not connect with me in that way, and I need it. Husbands, your wife needs your presence. She needs to know that she is a priority for you. Her feeling emotionally connected matters, and it will have an impact on your intimate connection. So even if you've named it before, can you name it again? And if I just named it for you, I would challenge you to send this to your spouse. Let them watch it on their own so that they can process it, and then bring it back up and say, how do we solve this? How do we change this? Especially if you are one of those husbands that is experiencing what I said, or one of the wives that is experiencing what I said. How do you get through it? Because those things are needs in a relationship. And if not, someone will slowly die. And then lust or temptation or other people or divorce becomes on the table when it does not have to be. But it takes courage from the person that is dissatisfied to name it until something changes, not to just go to apathy and to back down. So as you go into this, I would challenge you to be curious. So if your spouse isn't giving you the intimate connection that you desire, what might be going on for them that they'd be willing to withhold that if they didn't before? Right? And then if your husband is not as connected with you, or isn't being present for you, and you feel like you're not a priority, what might be going on for them? Can you put yourself in your partner's shoes and remain curious? So if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button for more videos on communication, connection, and passion in your marriage. And the links for Rise Up Kings and Rise Up Queens are below.